Namaste, good morning, and welcome to our Vedanta Society of Greater Houston Sunday service. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Mritam Gamaya Aviravir Maedhi Rudrayatte Dakshinam Mukham Tena Mam Bhahi Nityam Tena Mam Bhahi Nityam. Lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness unto light. Lead us from death to immortality. Reach us through and through ourself, O Lord, and protect us evermore from ignorance by thy sweet, compassionate face. Om Vishnurva Tripurantako Bhavatu Va Brahma Surendrotha Bhanurva Shashalakshanota Bhagavan Buddhota Siddhota Va Ragadvesha Visharti Moharahita Sattvanukampodyato Yasarve Sahasamskrito Gunaganais Tasmai Namah Sarvada. The Supreme Reality and its messengers are known by various names in various traditions. But as for me, I offer my worship always to the one going by any name and belonging to any tradition that is free from attachment and hatred, free from worldliness and delusion, who is filled with compassion towards all living beings, and who is possessed of all noble virtues. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Peace, peace, peace be unto us all. So the topic this morning is In Dense Darkness Thy Beauty Shines. And I'll come to the title in a moment, but it refers to Kali. Because we have just celebrated Deepavali or Diwali, or in various ways it is said in different parts of India. But the Festival of Lights, the most famous of the celebrations in India, the most famous of the Hindu celebrations, known around the world, and even celebrated nowadays in the White House. So it's a very well-known celebration, celebrating the defeat of darkness, by light, the defeat of ignorance by knowledge, the defeat of delusion by illumination, by enlightenment, etc. And so it's celebrated in different ways in different parts of India. In many parts, it's celebrated as the time when Sri Rama was welcomed back to Ayodhya after defeating Ravana and reclaiming Sita. And the people in Ayodhya put out lights everywhere to welcome him back. And so even now it is known as the Festival of Lights, or Deepavali. And in some parts, like in eastern India, it's associated with the worship of Kali, the goddess Kali. And so it's because of that that I will speak on Kali this morning in honor of the worship which we had on Thursday night, the ritual worship, the puja, in which we worshipped her and what she represents. So the title, In Dense Darkness Thy Beauty Shines, that's from a Bengali song, Nibir Adhare Ma. It's translated in the gospel as roughly, I've made some changes to the gospel translation, but in dense darkness, O mother, thy formless beauty sparkles. Therefore yogis meditate in a dark mountain cave. Tai yogi dhan kore hoye giri guha basi. So therefore yogis meditate in a dark mountain cave. In the lap of boundless dark, on Maha Nirvana's waves upborne, peace flows, serene and inexhaustible. Taking the form of the void, in the robe of darkness wrapped, who art thou, O Mother, seated alone in the shrine of Samadhi? It's a beautiful song, and the English words have been put to music by one of the monks in San Francisco, one of the former monks long back. Just so you have a sense of it, my singing voice is no longer very good, but just to give you a sense of the tune, it's a very beautiful song. In dense darkness, O Mother, thy formless beauty sparkles. Therefore yogis meditate in a dark mountain cave. And so the idea of the song, it was written by Trailokinath Sanyal, who is a writer of many songs for the Brahmo Samaj and who became a devotee of Sri Ramakrishna, wrote many beautiful songs. And you see in his songs the evolution of the Brahmo Samaj under Sri Ramakrishna as they became more spiritually minded, more interested in spiritual life, and they developed a devotion to God as Mother. So in dense darkness, O Mother, thy formless beauty sparkles. Therefore, yogis meditate in a mountain cave. And so here we see something we don't often think of, that is the attraction, the beauty of darkness. We often think of beauty in terms of light, in terms of color, in terms of that which we can see clearly. But there is the wonderful beauty of night, the beauty of darkness, the beauty when the whole world is shrouded in darkness and all of the forms melt into the darkness. We can no longer see clearly. In dense darkness, O Mother, thy formless beauty sparkles. Therefore, yogis meditate in a dark mountain cave. Whenever I think of this song, I think of an image in a movie about the life of Swami Atmarupananda. He was a Christian sannyasi from France, a Benedictine who took sannyasa, Hindu sannyasa, and tried to find a harmony between the Advaita Vedanta, which was what he was attracted to, and Christianity. But he was, of all of those who have tried to find a harmony between the two paths, he went the furthest in it and plunged deeply into the practice of Advaita, took a traditional Hindu guru, Swami Gyanananda, a great guru who passed away when I was living in India back in the late 70s, early 80s. So then it goes on, in the lap of boundless dark, on Maha Nirvana's waves upborne. And so I'll come later in the talk to how Mother Kali, she not only represents manifestation, but she represents the absolute as well. And that's what is spoken of here. And so in the lap of boundless dark, on Maha Nirvanas, that is the highest enlightenment, where the whole world is silenced and has disappeared into nothingness. On Maha Nirvana's waves upborne, peace flows serene and inexhaustible. Taking the form of the void, in the robe of darkness wrapped, who art thou, O Mother, seated alone in the shrine of Samadhi? So again, the attraction of night, the attraction of darkness, the attraction of black, dark black, the attraction of emptiness, of stillness. That's what's spoken of here. Many people are afraid of the night, people are afraid of darkness, people are afraid of emptiness, people are afraid of aloneness. But this song celebrates it. And that's a wonderful thing because there is the beauty there which we do well to discover. The beauty of silence, the beauty of aloneness, the beauty of stillness, and the beauty of darkness. So to some, that all represents fear. But not everyone wants to be surrounded by commotion all of the time. Not everyone wants to be surrounded by noise and by people and by society and by confusion. So again, it speaks of that, but then the song continues with another theme that is important in Kali. The song continues saying, from thy fear-scattering lotus feet flash bolts of lightning love. again, a beautiful sentiment. It doesn't come out as well in English as it does in the Bengali, but the idea is that from the feet of Mother Kali flash forth bolts of lightning made of love, that is, lightning of love. That is, love which is power, not love which is passive, but love which is power. And then it ends by, while thy face of pure consciousness shines, roaring and terrible with laughter. So here so it starts speaking of Mother in the shrine of Samadhi, where everything is still, where everything is dark, where the world has disappeared. And yet it ends with the note of, while thy face made of pure consciousness, Chinmoy Mukh, her face of pure consciousness, roars loud and terrible with laughter. So it brings at the end the note of the terrible side of Kali as well. That is the fear-inspiring side of Kali. And so as we go forward, we'll talk about both sides of the mother, because both are the same divine mother. It's not that she has a good side and a bad side. She is the mother, one whole indivisible mother. So we see her in these two sides. So the usual tendency is to seek for beauty in light, in brightness, in joy and pleasure, in color, etc. But I think all of us can recognize that there is great beauty in the night, in silence, in solitude. Even if some of us may be afraid of solitude, we still recognize that it would be nice if I could be happy in solitude. But then the beauty of terror, the beauty of power. Again, the love itself comes as bolts of lightning from her feet. And then her laugh is terror-inspiring. In fact, it's like, in the Bengali, it's like a roar, atta atta hase, a roar of terrible laughter. And so in Kali, we have to come to terms, if we want to come to terms with Kali. Many people may turn away in fear and run from her. And other people, as Swamiji will say in something I'll quote in a little bit, other people turn her into a fighter of demons who makes everything nice and peaceful and sweet for us. But she's terrible only towards our enemies, towards the demons. But to face Kali, we have to confront directly, head on, the existence of terror, the existence of fright, the existence of power. So there's the beauty of terror confronted. And so as I was thinking about this morning, I thought I suddenly understood something I hadn't thought about before, but it was sort of in the back of my mind since I was a child, but I'd never really put it together. That is the attraction of all things, horror movies. That's the attraction of horror movies. That's the attraction of ghost stories. That's the attraction of haunted houses, etc. Is the joy and the beauty of fear confronted. I have always marveled since I was a child, thinking back to childhood, how it was that when I was a child, I loved nothing better than to get scared to death. So I and other friends, childhood friends, we would gather at night in the summertime, especially when we didn't have to go to school in the morning and could stay out later. And the weather, of course, was nice and warm. We'd sit around telling ghost stories and trying to scare each other so much that we were afraid to walk home by ourselves. And we loved to do that. And it was always a mystery to me, why is that so much fun? And as a kid, I loved nothing more than horror movies. Now, those weren't movies like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and things like that, which are extremely grotesque in their graphic violence, but these were very campy children. They were even as a child, I knew that they weren't real. They were phony. But still, I loved to sit there and suspend disbelief and get scared to death, and then remember that, oh, this is just a movie. It doesn't matter. And so that the joy and the beauty of fear and terror confronted. And so that also is in the image of Kali, as we'll see more. So coming to Kali first as a symbol, Now, let me say, before I get into Kali as a symbol, that what I say about her symbolic nature doesn't mean that Kali is just a symbol. No, she's not a symbol. And to the worshiper of Kali, she's not a symbol at all. But if we know the symbolism behind her image, then as we come closer to Kali, then all of that takes on living meaning, not symbolic meaning. So Kali is not an idea. Kali is reality. She is reality, not an idea, not a concept. But in trying to understand her, trying to approach her, we first approach her through understanding the symbolism. So, in all higher religions of the world, whether the Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, the Eastern religions, Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, etc., it's recognized that reality is inconceivable. That's even recognized in the idealist philosophies, like Kant and others, recognize that reality is inconceivable. As he said, the ding an sich, the thing in itself, can never be known. And so religious theologians and philosophers have recognized that reality is inconceivable in itself, in its own nature, because the mind and language, which is what the mind thinks in terms of subject and object, and all of the dualities of life and multiplicity and so forth. It can't conceive of that which is beyond time and space. It can only conceive of that which is within, conditioned by time, space, and a chain of causation. So some religions say that because God can't be conceived of, we shouldn't have symbols. We shouldn't try to conceive of God. And so that's one way, but it's a way which has problems. And the problem is that all of our thinking is in terms of symbols. Language itself is a system of symbols. If I say cow, that's not a physical animal cow, it's a symbol which represents cows. If I say cow and I picture a cow, that's a symbol. My mental images are symbols. My thoughts are symbols. My words are symbols. Everything that we deal with is a symbol. And then we even begin to see, as we go higher in spiritual life, that even the external world is just a symbol. And so the mind can't deal with anything but symbols. And so if you deny people the ability to use symbols in religion, you're denying them the very ability to think about that which is sacred. And so even those religions which are very austere and which say that you can't use any symbols, like Islam, Protestant Christianity, Judaism, they devise ways around that in order to make God somehow conceivable. But Hinduism says that no, all thought is symbolic. And so if thinking about God, we have to use symbols. In Hinduism, anything can be a symbol. But those things, let me finish the thought. Anything can be a symbol if we can see through the symbol to the reality, or we can see the connection between the symbol and the reality symbolized. But there are certain things which have a transparent symbolism to them. So I could say, well, this desk is a symbol of the ultimate reality, but nobody worships a desk because we think of it as a utilitarian thing. If my mind were perfectly purified, I could look into the desk and see the shining reality of Brahman here itself. So the desk could be a symbol, but it's not a natural symbol. Something like light or water or the ocean or mountains, those are natural symbols, things that call to mind divine qualities, vastness, power, etc., illumination, etc., purity, etc. And so all things are symbols of God, but there's certain things which have great power because they are more transparent in how they reveal the nature of reality. So, in fact, in the system of grammar, Sanskrit grammar, Vyakarana, in Sanskrit, it said that the real meaning, the direct meaning of every word is the divine reality. That is, it is Om, which represents the divine reality. The real meaning of every word is the divine reality. Because when I say cup, glass, table, microphone, body, I'm saying something that is. And isness belongs only to reality. Isness, the quality we see in things that exist, the bare fact of existence, that is reality. That is Brahman. That is spiritual reality. And so the real meaning of every word is Brahman. So, but again, there are certain words that are more transparently connected to spiritual reality. And so we don't use the word cup to represent God or the word glass to represent God. We use certain other words that have more transparent connection to our understanding of reality. So again, certain things have a natural association with divinity. And then, according to the Hindu tradition, and this was supported by the direct experience of Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda, that infinite reality, that nameless, formless, inconceivable reality, which is the reality in everything here, but hidden to us at present by the forms of things, the appearance of things, that reality takes on certain manifestations in relationship to human beings. We don't know how it relates to other types of consciousness, animals or plants, but to human beings it takes on certain manifestations. That is, the forms of the gods and goddesses, not only in Hinduism, but in other religions as well. The forms of the gods and goddesses, those are ways in which the infinite reality reveals itself to the human mind. So the images of Kali, Shiva, Ganesha, Vishnu, Surya, etc., those are not made up by someone, by a poet or an artist who thought, well, let me make an image like this, and this will represent this, and that will represent that. No, these are forms, as Swami Vivekananda says, these are forms which are seen by rishis, by sages, in deep states of meditation. And so they're not artificially constructed. They are revealed. And so they're seen in vision. Now, most people, when they approach God or a symbol of God, they like to approach the good, the beneficent, the kind, the sweet, the pleasant. We like everyone can appreciate the compassionate Buddha. And by these statements I'm going to make, I don't mean any criticism of the types of images of spirit that we have and that people like, but these are the sorts of things people naturally gravitate towards: a compassionate Buddha, the good shepherd, God, the good shepherd, or the loving and wise father, the all-loving mother, the gentle mother, Lakshmi, Saraswati, the goddess of plenty, the goddess of good fortune, the goddess of wisdom, etc. The Savior who protects us, who grants us liberation. Krishna with his flute, who is all beauty, all sweetness, all beauty, all attractive. Krishna, in fact, comes from Krish, which means to draw, to pull towards himself because of his attractive power. And those are all good. Those are all legitimate and good symbols of the divine. But there is a problem. And the problem is that life is not all positive. Life has its positive and its negative. It has its good times and its bad times. It has its ups and its downs. Life is not all positive. And that's one reason why we tend to seek only the positive in religion, because we're trying to escape from that which is painful, that which is negative. That's a natural response. So why do we suffer in life? That's one of the great problems in religion. Why do we suffer in life? Why is there suffering? If this universe was made by a good God, if we were put here by a good God, then why is there suffering in life? There's not a good answer. That's what the story in the Jewish Bible, accepted by Christians also and by Muslims, about Adam and Eve. That story is meant to explain how God made the world perfect, but we fell from perfection because we disobeyed God. And so we are in misery because Adam and Eve made a mistake. Must have been one hell of a mistake. For thousands of years, everyone has had to suffer the way they've had to suffer just because they ate an apple, which God himself tempted them with. He said that he planted it right in the center of the Garden of Evil, where they couldn't avoid it, and said, you can eat all of the other fruits, but don't eat this one. So, of course, if anybody does that, then to another, the other person is immediately going to start wondering, that must be a really good fruit if God doesn't want me to eat it. And so there's not a good explanation for why we have to suffer, why there is suffering in life. All religions have to come to terms with that. But short of non-dualism, short of Advaita, there's not a good answer for that. Most religions end up blaming us for it. We're at fault for our suffering. So we're born into this world. We don't know anything. We grow up and we find that we have happiness and joy, yes, but also all kinds of suffering. And why? Well, it's your fault. Well, what did I do? Well, if you didn't do it in this life, you did it in a previous life. If there's reincarnation. And in the Abrahamic religions, well, if you didn't do it, Adam did it. And so you have to suffer because Adam did it. So the problem with identifying God with good is, what is good? What is good? Good is a relative term. Good and bad are only relative to my own desires, relative only to my own experience. What's good for me is not good for the man-eating tiger, the tiger who's become a man-eater. The man-eating tiger is hungry and wants to eat me. That's good for him. It's not good for me. What's good for me is not good for the mosquito. What's good for me is not good for the cockroaches, which I kill to keep them out of the kitchen. So what is good and what is evil? So the problem, one of the problems with good and evil is that they are just perspectives. It's just a matter of relative perspective. There's no absolute good, no absolute evil. So let me read, it's long, but I want to read this poem of Swamiji. I won't read every line of it, but I'll have to read a good number of lines to give the idea. It's one of his Bengali poems. In English, it's called Let Shama Dance There. It's a beautiful Bengali poem on which shows this duality between pleasure and between the good and pleasant and the terror in life. So he keeps going back and forth between that which is so attractive to us and that which is fear-inspiring. He begins, blossoms blooming, ravishing with perfume, bees besotted, buzzing hither and yon, the lunar crescent shining sweetly on earth, the smile of pleasure from high heaven's dwellers, the soft, sweet breeze known as Malaya, blowing gently, parting fond memories' veil, gurgling brooks and murmuring rivers, surging lakes, their nodding lotuses humming with bumblebees at play. And then several more lines like that, describing this scene of beauty and pleasure. And then he comes to the next verse where he says, thunderheads rumble, the sharp clap of thunder, the din of great battle pervading the worlds, darkness vomits yet denser darkness, and the wind of end times, pralaya, howls of destruction. Bolt after terrifying bolt of lightning strikes, breaking that darkness with flashes blood red. Roaring, raging, foaming monster waves rise and leap over mountain peaks. And then it goes on in that vein. And then he comes back. A lovely villa by a sapphire lake, dotted with blue lotuses. The heart blood of red grapes, capped with white foam, speaks softly of passion. The song of the veena delights the ears. Its raga, rhythm, and mood enhancing desire. How many sighs, like the gopis of Vraja, their passionate panting, their streams of tears, the bimba red lips of a lovely lass, Her blue lotus eyes a sea of sentiment. The two hands long to advance the cage of love in which the heart bird is caught. And then he comes back from the pleasure to kettle drums booming, war trumpets blasting. The earth trembles as cohorts march. Cannon fire explodes against the percussion of rifles. The gruesome battlefield is enveloped in smoke from thundering volcanoes of artillery, vomiting fire, their mortal shells striking warrior bodies, blowing even war horses and elephants into the air. And so it goes on in that vein. And then he comes to, and I'll read the rest of it. The flesh hankers to join with pleasure. Memory would take wing on the current of song. The mind wants to swing in the hammock of laughter, while the heart is ever eager to cross over sorrow. Say, who cares exchange the moonlight cool for the burning rays of the noontide sun? He whose heart is a punishing sun, even he fondly loves the balmy moon. All are intent on the wine of happiness. Breathes there the wretch who loves misery? Sorrows in our happiness, venom in our nectar, poison is lodged in the throat, still we cling to hope. So here he's bringing in the fact of actual experience, if we actually look at it. That is, sorrow is in our happiness, venom is in our nectar, poison is lodged in the throat, still we cling to hope. All run from the terrible. Seek none Elokeshi, a name for Kali with the flowing hair, her loosed hair. Seek none Elokeshi, whose form is death. They take from her hand the razor-like sword, reeking with blood, to give a flute instead. So that's a striking line. They take the razor-sharp sword which she holds in her hand, with which she's severing heads, which is dripping with blood. They take that and give her a flute, that is the flute of Krishna, reeking with blood, to give her a flute instead. You alone are true, O Kali. You are death. The pleasant Vanamali, that is Krishna, the pleasant Vanamali is your Maya's shadow. O thou terrible, cut to the heart, rend now the veil of illusion, dispel the dream of happiness, the fondness for flesh. They garland you with skulls, yet in fear they turn away and call you the compassionate one. Their hearts tremble at your yowling laugh and at your nudity clothed in space, saying, it's the demons she slays. They say they wish to see you, but when the time comes, who knows where they flee? You are death, disease, pestilence, serving people vessels of venom. So yes, you are death, disease, pestilence, and pandemics. O lunatic, you deceive yourself. You look not back lest you behold the terrible. You court hardship hoping for happiness. That is, yes, sometimes we court hardship, trying to get through difficulties to get to happiness, but the happiness is what we're looking for. You make pretense of bhakti and worship with the mind full set on selfish ends, seeing the blood that streams from the neck of the goat's severed head, the sacrificial goat. Your heart trembles. Coward, compassion, you say, how strange indeed. To whom shall I tell the truth? Break the harp. Free yourself from the mighty attraction, the maddening wine of love. Drive away the charm of sex. Forward with the roar of the ocean's song. Drink tears, pledge life, let the body drop. Awake, O hero, shake off vain dreams. With death at your head, does fear become you? This sorrow-laden world of becoming is your God. His temple is the Shmashana, that is, the cremation ground is his temple, with its funeral pyres. Unending battle is his worship. That's the way we worship Kali, with unending battle. That is, facing the terrible, facing life in all of its difficulties. Unending battle his worship. Let not constant defeat unnerve you. As the Gita says, Krishna says over and over again, that the same in success and failure. Burn to ashes the small self, volition, and pride by making your heart a cremation ground, and let Shama, Kali dance there. So that's a very powerful poem. I retranslated it because the English translation that exists in the complete works is a very poor translation, and you don't get the full power of the poem. But it's an extraordinary poem about Kali. So let me deal with her symbolism for a minute. The symbolism is strange indeed to the uninitiated, and I don't mean those who haven't had diksha, but those who are uninitiated to the meaning of Kali. When they first see her, she's a very strange figure indeed. An insult to human sensitivity. She is, in fact, she's just the opposite of what tradition says an Indian woman should be. In every detail, she's the opposite of what an Indian woman should be. She's naked, meaning that she is the naked truth. Her nakedness means that she is the naked truth. She is reality as it is. She's not veiled to make us comfortable. She's not veiled to make us feel good. She's not veiled to make us think that, oh, everything is going to be fine and dandy. Everything's going to be sweet and pleasant, and life is a bowl of cherries, and we're going to have a good time. We're not going to have face difficulties. God is good. God is sweet. God gives us what we want. God makes life sweet for us. No, she's the naked truth, the truth of life that we have to learn to face. She's black, black as night, sometimes dark blue or black, either one. The two mean the same thing. That is, she is that which is the absorbing power. Black is when all of the whole spectrum of visible light is absorbed by an object, it appears black. And so she is that which attracts everything to her. And she is the infinite where even light has disappeared. Her blackness also symbolizes the infinite, where even light has disappeared, where there is the absence of everything except for the heart of the mother. Her hair is loose, like the free flow of time. So traditionally in India, a married woman would have her hair braided, but her hair is loose, which has meaning only in the traditional setting, but it's loose with the flow of time, and to represent that she is the free flow of time, the unimpeded flow of time. She has 4 hands, and in the left side she holds a severed head in one hand and a sword in the other hand with which she has severed the head, and the sword is dripping with blood. And so Swamiji mentioned in the poem I just read, he says, people say it's the demons that she slays. No, that's my head. That's your head that she's holding. She's the one who cuts off our heads, who sacrifices us. That's our head that she holds. But on the other side, on her other 2 hands, she gives the Abhaya Mudra, the freedom from fear, and the Varadana, granting boons. So yes, she is the one who gives freedom from fear, and she grants boons as well. So she is the positive and the negative poles of life, but united in her being. It's one being, it's one mother. And so, as I've often said, if we can recognize Kali as the giver of everything, everything that comes from the loving, pure heart of Mother Kali, then everything is a blessing. Everything that comes to us is a blessing. Then we can stand and look on the difficulties of life and feel the beauty of terror. There's this wonderful incident when I forget who it was that had come to see Sister Nivedita in Calcutta and was at her home in Bagh Bazar, where her school was. And I was sitting there talking to her during the monsoon season, and suddenly a huge dark cloud covered the sky. And then there was suddenly a close by massive bolt of lightning. And Sister Nivedita jumped up and went to the window and said, "Oh, Ma Kali," in worship. That is recognizing the beauty of the power, Mother being the very image of Shakti, the image of power. And so she has the severed head and the sword, and she also gives freedom from fear. That, yes, death comes from me. There's nothing to fear here because I, the mother, am the giver of everything. There's nothing to fear in anything that happens to you because I, the mother, am the giver of everything. She wears a garland of skulls around her neck, the skulls of those that she has sacrificed, our skulls. And it's said that she uses that as her japa mala, her rosary, to count the names of God on the skulls of the dead. And around her waist, she has a girdle of severed arms that hang down from a girdle around her waist. And the severed arms show that she is the breaker of the bonds of karma. The arms, the hand being the hand in Sanskrit, one of the many names for hand in Sanskrit is kara, that which does, that which is which allows us to do things. And so the hand, and also in many languages, it's in Spanish, in Bengali, Sanskrit, not in English, but in many languages, the hand can mean just this, but the hand can mean the whole thing. So this is all hand. And so she's wearing the hands, the severed hands, meaning she cuts the bonds of karma. Because this is what we do karma with. The making of karma, good and bad karma, which binds us to the world. She's that which severs the bonds of karma for those who come to her. She has a protruding tongue, her tongue sticking out of her mouth, hanging out of her mouth. So there are different symbolisms for that. Two of the several symbolisms are, one is that she is drinking the blood from her wild, mad dance, in which she's sometimes in paintings of her, you'll see images of her, the pictorial images of her, you'll see her in a cremation ground with bodies all around where she's been swinging her sword, cutting off heads and so forth. And so she's drinking the blood. But another meaning to it is, and a very beautiful meaning is, that it was a gesture of shyness, of recognition that she had done something wrong, because she's standing with one foot on the chest of her husband Shiva. She's done that while in her mad dance of creation and destruction, she accidentally steps on the chest of her husband Shiva, who represents the absolute, pure consciousness. And in recognizing that, she goes like that to, oh, what have I done? And when she steps on Shiva, Shiva looks up and sees Kali, but sees her with eyes of love, sees her with eyes of recognition. And so all of this is the vision of Kali. We are Shiva, we are pure consciousness. And all that we see is the vision of Shiva, the vision of Kali. That is the vision Shiva has when he opens his eyes. He's lying on the ground in Shavasana, absorbed in the absolute, which is his true nature. And when Kali steps on his chest, he awakens to the world. But what does he see? He sees Kali. So if we can see Kali, when we look out at this, when we eventually can come to see Kali, then we'll be free. Then, like Shiva, when we look at the world, we look with eyes of love, because we recognize everywhere the all beautiful mother. So she's a very, as I said, the very opposite of what a proper woman should be. She's intentionally shocking, but not shocking just for shock value, not shocking just to be shocking. She's shocking to shock us out of our complacency, so that we awake to the nature of reality. We learn to see the beauty even in the terrible, not sufferings of other people. No, we have to start with our own experience. That is to see, don't think in terms of, well, as long as I'm safe, I can enjoy the sufferings of others. No, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with learning to recognize Kali in my own experience, not projecting it out there. So let me read another much shorter poem of Swamiji that he wrote in English called Kali the Mother. He wrote this in a state of ecstasy when he was living on a houseboat in Kashmir. And when he finished writing the poem, it came to him in a state of ecstasy. When he finished writing the poem, he fell down in a state of ecstasy, unconscious of the outer world. So he says, the stars are blotted out. The clouds are covering clouds. It is darkness, vibrant, sonant. In the roaring, whirling wind are the souls of 1,000,000 lunatics, just loosed from the prison house, wrenching trees by the roots, sweeping all from its path. The sea has joined the fray and swirls up mountain waves to reach the pitchy sky. The flash of lurid light reveals on every side 1,000 shades of death, begrimed and black, scattering plagues and sorrows, dancing mad with joy. Come, mother, come, for terror is thy name, death is in thy breath, and every shaking step destroys a world forever. Thou time, the all-destroyer, come, O mother, come. Who dares misery love, dance in destruction's dance, and hug the form of death, to him the mother comes. So a beautiful poem. And again, just hearing it read, some of you have heard it various times, some of you have read it at different times, but just hearing it, you don't get the full effect of it. It's something to be read over and over again to feel the inner meaning of the poem. So that expresses the terrible side of Kali, but recognizing in the terrible side of Kali, the mother. And so now let me turn to the other side, because Kali is the mother. She is the all-loving mother. She's the all-loving mother. And again, I dealt with just now with the symbolism of Kali, what the symbolism means, but she's not a symbol. She's reality. The mother is real. There's a beautiful song by the Muslim poet, Bengali Muslim poet, Nazrul Islam, a beautiful song, who wrote hymns to various deities, Hindu deities. The translation here is by Rachel McDermott, whom I knew as a kid. She's a scholar of, her father was a devotee of Vedanta, and she's a scholar of Indology. And so she's written a book on poems to the mother. And so this one is one of my favorite hymns to the mother. It's Shoshane Jagiche Shyama Antime Santane Nite Kole. That is, Shama wakes on the cremation ground to take her child at the final hour on her lap. Antime Santane Nite Kole. At the end of life, to take her child onto her lap. So mother wakes on the cremation ground to take her child at the final hour to her lap. The peaceful mother sits on the pyre, its fire hidden by her sari of love. To hold him on her lap, she left the Kailasa of her joy, and with blessings and fearlessness in her hands, made the cremation ground her home. Why fear this place? That is, why fear the cremation ground when you'll sleep peacefully at mother's feet? Who dies ignited by the flames of this world, to him the mother calls, I, Kole I, Kole I. Come to my lap, come to my lap. To lull you to sleep, O wearied of life, Ma takes you to her lap, disguised as death. So mother comes disguised as death to take you to her lap. So that is the all-loving mother. She sits in the cremation ground, leaving Chari Sukha Kailas, leaving her the pleasure of her heavenly home of Kailas, the ideal Kailas, the home of Shiva and Kali. She leaves that to sit in the cremation ground, to welcome those who come to her, to protect them from the heat of the fire, from her sari made of love. So it's a beautiful poem that shows the all-loving nature of Mother Kali. So she is that also. And then Kali is reality, as I said. So first of all, she is real. Sri Ramakrishna, during his sadhana, not just then, but we have records of what he said about when he was during his period of sadhana. When he was sitting in his room, which at that time, that period of his life was the Kunti, the house just outside of the inner courtyard of the Kali temple, he would hear at night, he would hear the tinkling of mother's anklets, the divine mother's anklets, and he would go into the courtyard of the temple, and there he would see Mother Kali standing on the veranda, the upper veranda on the Kali temple. It's sort of an ornamental veranda, but she would be standing there, looking up the Ganges and down the Ganges with loving eyes. And he would hear the anklets on her feet, the bangles on her hands jingling, her hair blowing in the wind. So the images that are described of what he said about seeing the Mother Kali are extraordinarily beautiful. So he saw the mother many, many times. In fact, he saw her daily, saw the living Divine Mother. So again, we start with the symbology in order to understand who she is. But then she becomes living to us. She becomes the living mother. Like Sri Ramakrishna, others have seen her as well. Once when I was in Benares, on my way to Mayavati, when I was living in the living and studying and working in the Himalayas, I used to stop on my way to Bellarmat in Benares. So one time I was there with a friend of mine, Swami Brahmeshananda, one of our Swamis who's still alive, who used to care for this old Swami, Swami Satsvarupanandaji. And so we had gone to, I went with him. He took me to see this old Swami and other old Swamis in the retirement home for old Swamis in Benares. And when we got to Swami Swarupananda, who was bedbound by that time, he was lying on his cot, couldn't get up from his cot anymore because of old age and illness, extreme old age. And so suddenly my friend Brahmeshananji, who had taken me to see this Swami, he said, oh, I got a call, because he was a medical doctor, still is a medical doctor, and he was called to see a patient. And so he said, I've got to rush. I'll be back. You stay here with Maharaj and talk with him. And so suddenly I thought, well, now I've got to talk with this Swami. I don't have anything. I don't know him. I don't know what to say. I'm not a good conversationalist, and I felt very uncomfortable. Just sort of standing there clumsily with this Swami, old Swami, lying there in front of me. So then I thought of the only thing I could think of, Maharaj. Did you? How many times did you see Holy Mother? Because I knew he was a disciple of Holy Mother. And so he said, I only saw her twice. Once before my initiation, when I went to see her, and then at the time of my initiation. But when I went to her at the time of initiation, I went in to receive initiation. She was already seated inside after doing her morning worship. And when I got up from bowing down, I didn't see Holy Mother. I saw Kali. So I said, do you mean that in place of Mother, you saw that Kali was there? He said, yes, I saw the living Kali. Mother had become the living Kali. I saw her sitting there, and thus was fulfilled the purpose of my life. So then, of course, after that, I was eternally grateful to Swami Brahmeshananda for having left me there to speak with this old Swami. There was such an atmosphere created when he told this story of having seen the living Kali. And for him, he said that fulfilled the purpose of my life. So it wasn't just seeing Kali, but it was something that had transformed his life. He had seen his chosen ideal living and seen and known the meaning of it. We read in like this great master, the story of Sri Ramakrishna's life by Swami Saradananda. We read about visions like those had by Sri Ramakrishna's mother, Chandra Devi. One of her visions of a type that I want to say something about. When she saw one day, she was expecting her son, older son, to return from a worship in another village. And so it was late at night. She was looking down the path to see if he was coming, and she saw this beautiful young woman coming. And she asked this woman where she was coming from, and she said that she was coming from the same place where Chandramani's son had been to do the worship. So she asked, did you see my son, Ram Kumar? And she said, yes, I saw him. He's coming. He'll be here shortly, but I have to go. And then she walked down the path and disappeared. Chandramani couldn't find her. And then she realized that that was Lakshmi, the goddess Lakshmi that had appeared to her, but she didn't recognize her at first, even though she was extraordinarily beautiful, covered with gold ornaments and walking alone at night. It was only afterwards she realized this was Lakshmi. So I thought I would tell, I've never told anyone, not Swami, not a friend or a devotee or anyone, but an experience when I was in a training center. This would have been in 1975. In training center, we would go every year on a field trip from Bellarmat to Dakshineshwar, to the Kali temple. And so we went and saw the temple, went to the various temples. We spent time at the Panchavati and different places when the Panchavati was still alive. The banyan tree was still there in those days. Now there's a new Panchavati, which has grown big, but the old Panchavati was still there at that time. And so when we were leaving the temple grounds, we got back on the boat to go across the river to Bellermat. The boat pushed off from the ghat. And so I looked at the ghat, the steps coming down, and suddenly I saw this extraordinarily beautiful woman, young woman, maybe 18, 19, 20, somewhere in there, extraordinarily, like I had never seen before, running down the steps of the ghat towards the water, dark black, completely black, but extraordinarily beautiful and completely naked, something you don't see in India. You don't even see it here, but what to speak of in India. So running down the steps completely naked, completely black. There was nothing sexual about it at all, just an experience of extraordinary beauty. I'd never seen anyone that was so extraordinarily beautiful as she ran down the steps. And then she came to the water, and suddenly I saw around her there was a whole circle of young men who were all hyper excited by seeing her, and they formed a circle all around her, and they were splashing water at her, and she was dancing in the middle of that. And suddenly I realized, I'm a brahmachari, a novice, a brahmachari. I'm in a boat full of brahmacharis, and I'm staring at this naked woman. And so I look around, and suddenly I see others. Others are looking off in different directions, and then the whole thing disappeared. And I didn't even think about it. It was such a shock to me. I didn't even think about it until later, and suddenly the whole memory came back to me, that was Kali, that she had revealed herself to me. I wasn't as fortunate as Swami Atmarupananda, where the purpose of his life had been fulfilled by the vision, but it was the real Kali revealing herself to me. And I saw that was Kali in her aspect of delusive aspect of attractiveness. Not that she was trying to delude me, but I saw that this is the delusion which infatuates people's minds. And so it was a wonderful experience which I've remembered ever since then. So I say that to say, because that was 50 years, almost 50 years ago. So it's a long time ago, and life is short. So I say it just to emphasize that these are real. I wasn't trying to think of Kali. I wasn't thinking of Kali at the time. I was thinking about, well, now we're leaving. Look at the beautiful Ganges, the beautiful gardens and everything. There's the temple, everything's so nice and pretty. So it wasn't me trying to see something and producing it in my mind by an effort of will. It was a revelation of the mother herself. And so these aspects of reality are real. They reveal themselves to us. And if we meditate on them, then we feel ourselves coming closer to them. And they gradually become more and more real to us. So let me say finally that Mother Kali is, as I said, she is reality, and she is non-dualism. She is non-duality. She is Advaita. Mother Kali is Advaita. I was surprised when I first went to Mayavati in the Himalayas. I went there in 1977 to live for 5 years in the ashram, which is devoted to non-dualism. But there I found in the dining hall, there was this huge picture of Mother Kali. It's my favorite picture of Mother Kali. It had been even before I saw this one. It's from a painting, and it's a painting that Holy Mother used to keep also, which is very dynamic, where Mother is dancing and quite a striking painting. But here in Advaitashrama, where there were to be no images of gods and goddesses, and of all places, over the dining table where we ate, was this huge picture of Kali with blood dripping everywhere in the painting, and severed heads and all of that. But later I realized, no, that was appropriate. They didn't worship the picture. It was just there. But she is Advaita. She is non-dualism. She's the very image of the Nitya and the Lila, the eternal and the manifestation, the play. So there's another song, a beautiful song, which those of you who were either here or listened to our worship live streamed heard Rupa Ghosh sing this song. It's one of the songs I asked her to sing. Majlo Amar Mon Brahmora Shamapada Nil Kamole. It's a beautiful song which says, "The bee of my mind has merged in the deep blue lotus feet of Mother Shama." Shama meaning the black one, Kali. The bee of my mind, in Hindu texts, the mind is often compared to a bee. So the bee of my mind has merged in the deep blue lotus feet of Mother Shama. And also, I should say, it's compared here to the black bee, not our honey bee, which is more orange than black, mostly orange and brown, but to the black bee. The black bee of my mind has merged in the deep blue lotus feet of Mother Shama. The nectar of sense objects having become tasteless. That is, he finds the nectar of the Divine Mother's lotus feet so superior to anything that he loses the very taste for sense objects. The nectar of sense objects having become tasteless, tasteless, the flowers of lust and desire. Her feet are black. The bee is black. Black is merged into black. So the black bee of my mind is black. Her feet are black, and black is merged into black. Black has become black. After so many days, the desire of Kamalakanta's mind is fulfilled, Kamalakanta being the author of the song. Pleasure and pain have become the same with the surging of the sea of bliss. That is, when we approach reality, which is bliss, which is the direct, immediate experience of bliss, not that it's the experience of bliss, it is bliss itself. Then pleasure and pain lose their attraction and their sting. We find that both are insignificant. They become tuccia, insignificant, in the face of the immensity of bliss, which makes everything else small. And another beautiful song that talks about, this isn't so much about Advaita, but it is a beautiful song, so let me read it, just the 3 lines of it. Is Kali, my mother, really black? The naked one of blackest hue lights the lotus of the heart. Again, showing that Mother Kali is black, but it's the darkness which illuminates all things, the darkness of illumination, the darkness of everything sensate, but the light of full illumination. And then one of the beautiful songs of Ram Prasad. In fact, let me close with this. One of the beautiful songs of Ram Prasad, many beautiful songs of him to Kali. This one is his famous song, Sokoli Tomari Icha. Icha moe ma tara tumi. Tomar karma tumi koro ma loke bole koriami. O Mother Redeemer, that is Tara. O Mother Redeemer, all happens according to your sweet will, O willful one. That is, the Mother Kali is the willful one. She does according to her own will. All happens according to your sweet will, O willful one. You do your own work, Mother. People only call it theirs. We all think, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I've got to get this done, I've got to get that done, this is my responsibility, I'll take care of this. No, Mother does everything. We think that we are doing. So, Tomar karma tumi koroma. It's your work, Mother, which you yourself do. Loke bole kori ami. People say, I do. But that's because they don't know that it's the Mother doing through us. Everything happens by the will of the willful one, the Divine Mother. It goes on, you bind the elephant in mud and cause the lame to jump over mountains. So the huge, strong elephant, you, O Mother, you can bind the elephant in mud, but the lame who can't walk, you allow them to jump over mountains. That is, you remove the obstacles of those that you wish. To some you grant identity with Brahman, realization. Others you lead into degradation. That's why Swamiji said, don't judge anyone. Have love for all. Recognize that the degradation of one allows for the salvation of another. So don't look down on anyone. To some, you grant identity with Brahman, others you lead into degradation. I am the machine, you are the operator. Ami jontro, tumi jontri. Jamon chalao, temni choli. I am the machine, you are the operator. As you move me, so do I move. I am the house and you the indweller. I the chariot and you the driver. I move as you make me move. Ram Prasad says, "O crazy mind," addressing his own mind, "O crazy mind, why do you fear? I have sold this body to the feet of Kali." That is, I have given myself to Kali. So why should you fear, O mind? Because Mother is the reality itself. She is the doer. I think that I do, but Mother does everything. Uh, I won't go into that because there's not time now, but as I've said on other occasions, if we think about it, we realize that we don't really do anything. It's the ego that takes credit for doing everything, but we don't do anything. We think, I am the doer, but actually, there are forces beyond our control that we don't understand that make everything happen. And so, to one who surrenders to the mother, find that yes, then everything is taken care of. The mother is the reality. She does everything. She takes care of everything. And everything that comes, whether life or death, whether happiness or sorrow, whether success or failure, everything that comes from the loving hand of the mother. And everything is a gift of love which uplifts us if we allow it to. So, with that, I will close, and because I went over time, I won't ask for questions today. Uh, but that, just summarize by saying Mother is reality, Mother is non dualism, Mother is everything, the seen and the unseen, the transcendent and the relative. And she is pleasure, she is pain, she is laughter, she is sorrow, she is all. And if we see her behind everything, then we have fear of nothing. Then we see the beauty, as Nivedita did, in the lightning bolt and in other manifestations of great power. Even those that threaten us, we don't feel threatened because we know, no, this is the dance of my own mother, my own mother. It's a mother that I was playing hide and seek with all through life. But now I've caught her. Now I've caught her, and she can't fool me anymore. So that will come to us someday. So let me give announcements and then I'll give a closing chant. So on Tuesday, we will have the Katha Upanishad class at the usual time, 7:30. On Thursday at 11 o'clock, we will have the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna class at, as I said, 11 o'clock. Sunday, we will not have a lecture here. There will be no program on Sunday because I'll be in Dallas. And so there'll be no lecture here on Sunday. We'll have the regular classes the following week and the regular lecture the following week. But this coming Sunday, there'll be no talk. So I'll give a closing chant. Om Dyo Shantihi Antariksham Shantihi Prithvi Shantihi Apa Shantihi Oshadhaya Shantihi Vanaspataya Shantihi Vishwe Deva Shantihi Brahma Shantihi Sarvam Shantihi Shantireva Shantihi Sama Shantiredhi Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Peace is in the heavens, peace is in the sky, peace is on earth, peace is in the waters, peace in the plants and the trees. The gods are peace. Peace is the nature of truth. All is peace. Peace alone, peace. May that peace, real peace, be with us all. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto us and to all the beings of the universe.